Hello and welcome to the second episode of the mini series of conversations on Sustainable Industry Academia Partnership for Skill Education in India. In the first episode, you would have watched how these three industry sectors, that is logistics, electronics and automotive sectors, represented by the CEOs of these sector skill councils, shared their views and also their experience in launching new initiatives to implement NEP 2020, or rather to help enable or facilitate the implementation of NEP 2020 in academic institutions, training companies and other such important training organizations. So the steps they have taken and also the initiatives that are ongoing right now are very important for us to understand, and they play a key role in the long run when we talk about how to make this engagement sustainable. So today, to take the conversation forward, we are going to look at how these three sector skill councils have had many initiatives which are driven by technology, and how they are using technology to scale up and also to reach more people, and also to see to it that the benefits of technology reach everybody in the ecosystem. So let's go ahead and watch this part of the conversation, which is focusing on technology and all the innovative practices that these sector skill councils are recommending to their stakeholders. So I'm glad to introduce you to this part of the conversation with Dr. Abhilasha Gaur from the Electronics Sector Skill Council, Mr. Arindam Lahiri from the Automotive Sector Skill Council, and Mr. Ravikanth Yamarthy from Logistics Sector Skill Council. Every day we hear about technology disruption. That's something day and night, whether it's artificial intelligence or robotics or any of those new technologies. So in your respective sector skill councils, of course, electronics is quite a different sector skill council that way. But despite that, can you please tell us how you are keeping up with these changes, the dynamism of the industry, the disruptions that happen in terms of educating people, telling them what new jobs are coming up, helping them learn that they shouldn't start panicking that there's nothing for people, right? So this is one, new jobs and all, and also for those who are in jobs, what kind of upskilling would be needed? Is there anything being done on these lines in the Electronic Sector Skill Council?
See, definitely change in technology is inevitable, and one has to be ready to face these challenges. And that is what we aim for also for all the trainees who have been trained. Through Electronic Sector Skill Council, around 19.5 lakh candidates since December 2012 have been trained and certified till now. Let me give you a small example to make you understand this. For example, in consumer electronics, we have programs for service and installation of various consumer electronic products. Like we have TV, fridge, washing machine. Now we have dishwasher. After the COVID, the demand increased. So the kind of equipments what we have used at our times in our household and what we are using now. So the fridge or a LED TV, if you see, it comes with a IoT and a lot of sensors which are coming. Same way in refrigerator also, a lot of things have changed. So definitely the people who are already working in this sector, they have to be upgraded. So through our RPL program, these kind of upskilling programs is being done. And also then time to time our curriculum and you can say the handbooks what we give to the candidates, they also need to be updated in that case. So we keep on doing it. So it is not that if you have updated your curriculum. So what we have started doing earlier, it used to be for 3 years or 5 years, you make a curriculum and then you can keep on continuing it. Now, as we have already mentioned earlier, that the micro credential or NOSIS. So if let's say a new technology has come for refrigeration, or now the dishwasher has come, and various companies are coming up with various innovative products in consumer electronics. So we are making smaller programs which are, let's say, 7 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. So these are more like, you can say, the upskilling program which can be added in the regular program also. So you need not to change the complete curriculum. And if in case some of the industries also require, like we are running a program for Crompton, for example. So it's a 1 day skilling program, and we have trained around 3,000 electricians on various new products. Same with Hevels. Last year we have upskilled around 5,000 electricians, and this year we'll be upskilling around 15,000 more in that case. So that 1 day training program is more about telling about the new innovative features in various products. So in this, the ESSCI team, our subject matter experts, as well as the Hevels business team also travels with us for these programs, and that is how we upskill these candidates. So definitely, because of the technological advancement, now this will become a regular feature. So one is our mainstream short-term training courses. Another is upskilling of these technicians who are already there on the ground. As far as other technological innovations are concerned, now it is not only about the physical training, even in electronics. So we have got few virtual labs also. So they help us a lot, especially specifically if I talk about drones. So before a student goes and start flying a drone or start working on it, so there are various simulators on which they have to work, and these simulators can be used at the school level also, and in the progression it can be used in college, and by including different, you can say, the difficulty level in these simulators for the drones. So the simulators in the labs, simulators, softwares, virtual labs. So I think it is more of a hybrid kind of a learning what we are providing to our learners, and with various foundations we have been working, where right now I mean, we are in talks with one of the company who is into PCB designing. So they have got the software for this, the same thing, and maybe it is almost on a final stage, and then we can provide this PCB design software to all the AICT approved colleges or all the university and colleges at no cost. And in case they complete the course, and in case they want to get a certification, then only at that particular stage a charge will come for the certification cost for them. So there are various ways in electronics also how this technology will help us to take our goal, and we'll be able to reach on a mass level for our sector also. So these are some of the initiatives what we have been taking in.
Okay. It was also interesting to hear when you said about this, the new programs and also the upskilling part. I was able to kind of relate it also, to the RPL kind of thing. And also when you look at the NCRF, we are talking about this three axis, right?
Yes.
The experiential learning is one of them, academic learning and vocational. So I was trying to put that into that framework also. So maybe when we just proceed with the next part of this discussion, kindly keep that framework also in mind when you are, about to give us your closing remarks, because that's one area where we are trying to see this credit framework, credits being, creditizing as per the vocational, the academic, and the experiential. And there is this experiential thing is still quite a gray area. So maybe if you can throw some light later, that would be good. Now I move on to Mr. Arindam, and to learn more about, sir, from your sector. Technology, like you said, is everywhere. Already you mentioned, and the EV is such a revolution happening right now. So what do you have to say on the way you have caught up with the disruption in terms of the programs, the curriculum, and the kind of impact you're creating through skilling and upskilling both?
Fortunately or unfortunately, over the last 100 years, the automotive industry has predominantly remained the same. They have only worked on petrol and diesel engines. Right. Only in the last couple of decades have we seen alternate energy fuels. We first saw the advent of compressed natural gas or CNG vehicles coming into this market. India has also always, or largely so far, except for the last 10 years or so, has largely been at the like a laggard in the global space in terms of the specifications, the safety standards, etc. Today, we are at par with the global standards, be it the emission norms, be it the safety norms, be it any kinds of test norms of our vehicles, and vehicles which are produced here are being exported worldwide. So we are operating at an absolutely global level, and in some areas we are ahead of Europe Okay, so in terms of our two-wheeler market, which is our largest segment of the market, we follow Euro 6 standard, which is called BS6 in India. And Europe is still trying to catch up. Australia is just moved to BS6. I was talking to some of the counterparts in Australia. So they were saying that you've moved into BS6 or Euro 6 norms of emission about 4 years back. How did you manage this transition in terms of skilled manpower and upskilling of manpower? And what Abhilasha was just talking about, new features, new technology integration into product. So when we moved to a new emission standard in India in 2020, the biggest challenge was how do you improve the skill level of the existing unauthorized dealers, so to say. I mean, I'm using the term like this because a lot of us will go to our authorized dealership if we have a car. But when we look at our two-wheelers, we typically go to a local mechanic, and that local mechanic is not trained by anyone when this significant change happens. So as a council, then we took upon us that we should look at, how to engage with those mechanics and improve their skill level to meet, that changed emission standard. So you'll be happy to know that we've done in excess of 1.5 lakh mechanics over the last couple of years, trying to skill them only on the BS6 standard, which is between 12 hours to 20 hours of program, depending on the kind of vehicles that they deal with. Similarly, electric vehicles have come in, and the electric vehicle adoption levels in the two-wheelers and three-wheelers have become very significant. In fact, in three-wheeler segment today, fossil fuel is the lowest. Three-wheelers, majority of the three-wheelers run on CNG and then electric, and then comes the petrol engines. So the fossil fuel is already the number 3, in that segment, that particular segment. When we look at the last mile delivery that Ravi was talking about, more and more companies are adopting electric vehicles in the last mile delivery, whether it is in two-wheelers, three-wheelers, and four-wheeler light commercial vehicles. Most of them are moving towards the last mile delivery in terms of electric vehicle, and last mile connectivity for passenger also is moving towards electrification. So there is a massive need of people understanding this, and one of the biggest challenge, and which is what we are working on at the highest, at the max level, is about the safety related to electric vehicles. Because when you handle vehicles, you did not have an electric shock coming in from a high voltage of a battery coming in to your body. Today, there is a very significant risk of that. Second is the lithium-ion technology is such that there is a possibility of a fire inflammation that happens. And that happens very regularly. Of course, standards have become more stringent and we are seeing less incident of fire. But you would remember that when we transited to CNG in the late 90s or early 2000, CNG vehicles used to catch fire. And similarly, now we have seen a spate of electric vehicles catching fire, but that has come down significantly. But still, one has to be very, very careful, because if you end up abusing that vehicle in terms of its usage, and you don't use it in the right manner, there is every risk of that. In a waterlogged situation, if you're driving through these vehicles and you get stuck and you come back and touch the vehicle, while the ignition is still on, but you are not able to decipher it, there are significant challenges of electric shock that you may conduct, because you yourself are standing in water effectively. So many of these awareness education programs are very, very important across the board for people who are wanting to do this. And these are some of the areas. And then, of course, it relates to servicing of vehicles, driving of vehicles. Manufacturing is complex, but again, manufacturing in the plants which are already doing the legacy vehicles, people have to be upskilled and reskilled to ensure that they are able to handle this, okay, and handle this at scale. So all of these requires a significant amount of new people coming in with this kind of technology and older people getting reskilled. So with the newer people coming in, the best way is to engage with diploma, ITI or higher education institutions where we embed programs on these areas. Also, we see a third area that I want to talk about is a very, very high level of automation that we are going through. And automation, when we talk about our Industry 4.0, which is the larger jargon of the whole automation and robotization of the processes, again, there needs to be embedding of these modules inside the traditional programs itself. We call it smart manufacturing today. So programs on smart manufacturing, automation, robotic integration. While people say that automation will take away a lot of jobs, but doing automation needs a lot of manpower.
Yeah.
Integration of cobots, planning of robotics, planning of automation, integration of systems, software integration, huge amount of manpower is required. And today we are only talking about a concern about whether automation will take away our jobs or artificial intelligence will take away our jobs. I am always reminded, because I come from a state which very heavily, actually was against computerization in banks in those days. And we can see that how banking industry has actually changed, and with more people, 100x more people working in that segment because of computerization. So today it is somewhat similar. AI can open up so much of employment opportunity we can't even think of. So it's just that the skills will be different.
Right.
And we need to ensure that the newer workforce which are coming into this space, which are currently in schools, currently in higher education institutions, are picking up these building block skills today to ensure that when they come into the industry, they at least fit into that industry, and they will have to keep learning because the technology is constantly changing. So our route of sustainability is to constantly bring in teachers and candidates in contact with the industry, and make them learn that industry. So we recently, let's say, did a program with an engineering college where we got people coming in from industry, the HR heads, the training heads, coming in and talking to those faculty members, because we were doing it during the summer break, the faculty members, as to what has changed in this industry, which you don't get to see. Because, everybody is still relatively aware of things like retail or a beauty parlor or a hotel or a restaurant, because all of us go there. Yeah. But all of us don't go to a car factory. All of us don't go into a car workshop. So we don't know what has changed. Yeah. And that's where I think we need to work a lot along with the academic institutions to ensure they understand what really is happening in the industry.
Yeah, thank you. That was a very nice elaboration of the entire industry. I would say specifically the way you told us about AI and the EVs also. Before I go to Mr. Ravikanth, I feel now, this kind of thing, the story we are creating is actually building up. So when I go to him now, I'll have to ask him, can you connect electronics and automotive and then talk about your sector? How the technology is disrupting? Because logistics also, there's so much of automation, and you depend on electronics, and you depend on automotive vehicles, etc. So maybe you can combine all the three and tell us how it's impacting and what are the measures being taken from your sector skill council. I'll give you one example here before you tell us more. I think today still, when we talk about logistics, it's the notion is still very limited to delivering things, to couriers, to things like this, a little bit of warehouse maybe, but even there, no, very low level kind of job roles. Maybe you can enlighten us more about the larger picture here as well, which is technology disruption in a very positive way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure, Ms. Madhuri. So first I'll give the example of taking both electronics and automotive
Yeah.
into consideration of how it changed. 10 years back, if you used to go to bank, there were 30, 40 people sitting there and working, right? So it got automated through ATMs and electronics actually came in there. And we got benefited by, cash logistics. Now there's a big space where a lot of, because I recently got a requirement of 1,500 people to be given to a cash logistics company who will
Okay.
actually go and put the cash and also do the maintenance of that ATM. So that way there's a lot of integration, and thanks to GST in logistics especially, because after GST there's a lot of consolidation which has happened on the warehousing space.
Mm.
So previously, because of the local tax, the state tax, and central tax, and all that, everybody used to have smaller warehouses at the cities level or a state level. But after GST, they're having massive warehouses where the land is cheap and sort of. If you go to Hyderabad, the Amazon's warehouse is about 1 lakh square feet.
Yeah.
So because of this, now there's a lot of technology interference which is required, because you can't imagine working or operating a 1 lakh square feet warehouse or a 2 lakh square feet warehouse with manpower. So to great extent, you'll have to automate that, right? So a lot of things are getting automated right now, and even going further, there are a lot of companies who are thinking about, how do I make a complete automated warehouse with no human intervention at all, right? So that's the state that we are in right now. But if you are looking at some of the futuristic aspects right now, because a lot of things have changed. Previously, people were using, like, taking the pick list, going there. Now there's a lot of technology of using the handheld scanners, voice to pick, pick to light, a lot of methods. There are new courses which are coming up, like the packaging designer, which was not there in India all this while. So we brought that packaging designer course to India. So likewise, in future, you will have a drone operator who will be actually delivering drones to a station which is dedicated for a drone delivery, at least for the high-rise apartments where it is feasible right now, right? So these are some of the things, and as you rightly said, yes, the aspirations are very low in logistics, because people think that logistics is all about driving, loading, unloading, and delivering, right? But we operate on 12 different subsectors. We operate on cold chain, we operate on port operations, we operate on liquid logistics, rail logistics, warehousing, transportation, courier and express, where where the DHL FedExes operate. Then we offer in cold chain, which is the emerging sector, because because of the climatic changes, possibly we'll have to store everything which you reap, irrespective of the season. So that's going to be the futuristic, or the future, where you can't have, if you have, we did a little bit of a study which is very interesting. I'll just share that to you. The season of mangoes generally last from, it will start from about somewhere in April and
Yeah.
will last till September. But this year, I think the season is already exhausted and we ate the last mango in Chennai, right? So going forward, I think this is a little more worrying, because you need to have capability of putting up a cold chain which will actually ensure that these fruits, vegetables, everything is available all around the year, irrespective of the season. So cold chain logistics is becoming important. Cold chain logistics is also becoming important because you're bringing a 2 rupee pineapple from Arunachal Pradesh to a 100 rupees market in Delhi, right? This is because you don't have a proper cold chain, right? So this is something which is emerging. These are some of the future technologies, and yes, we are updating that accordingly. Also, and India is now becoming a center to put up, they're putting technical centers, all the TVS, DHL, FedEx, and UPS, they are creating data centers where, sitting in India, they're managing all the consignments, customs clearance around the globe. right? Because everything is data transfer right now. So these are some of the technologies which, so not necessarily that you get trained in logistics and you work in a warehouse. You can also work in a Amazon or a Flipkart as a packaging designer, which is well-paid job. You can also work in a UPS data center, technology center, managing the customs clearance of a shipment between Sweden and Australia, right? So these are some of the technologies which are actually coming in. Number two, on the upskilling aspect of it, we have created a logistics learning management system, and we ensure that this is being beefed up every to the date in terms of the technology advancements. So anybody who is already, because there are a lot of changes in terms of the compliances that we'll have to take it to the employees. For example, there's a training called IMDG, International Maritime Dangerous Goods. So everybody have to get skilled in IMDG once in every 2 years, and every year there are a lot of complaints or regulatory changes. Sometimes Hong Kong might come and tell you that no, we don't allow leather into our country, right? So we need to bring all these changes to the existing workforce. So we have built a very robust logistics learning management system, and we keep promoting our courses especially for existing employees who can actually quickly peep into our logistics learning management system, pick up that course, get them upskilled, up to date, and then get a certificate as well, which is complementary. So this is how we manage the upskilling programs, and for the newer generation who's coming into the sector, and also for the existing workforce. However, from what we were in terms when we were created in 2014 and what we are right now in terms of the aspirational level, it has definitely increased. And thanks to COVID, I'm glad that COVID came to India and benefited our sector, because everybody understood the importance of logistics in COVID, because we were all sitting at home and then things were getting delivered to you. So now there is definitely a lot of aspiration in terms of somebody coming into our sector.
Thank you. And the examples were really wonderful because I think we are going to remember this through the examples, because these are all still new things for us. Even like you told us how the SSC itself has transformed, right, over the years, which is actually a fact which some of us only know who are working very closely. But we want this message to go out to lots of people who should know about these industries. You've just watched how these sector skill councils, that is the electronics, the logistics and the automotive, have taken many measures in terms of integrating technology and infusing it into many initiatives that they are undertaking right now at this point in time to strengthen the industry academia connect. So in the next episode, we are going to go ahead and look at how this relationship between the industry and the academia can be really made very sustainable with some examples, and also we will be looking at the importance of training of trainers. So watch out for the next episode, and in case you have liked this episode and you found it useful, do subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss any update from us. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to having you in the next episode. Thank you.